Hello students, welcome to Java programming. Currently we are discussing about chapter 2 multi-threaded programming of unit 5, and this is video 3, that is of this chapter. From this unit, this is video 9, and these are the topics we are going to cover in this video today. The main thread, that is whatever the threads you create in your program, and all the threads have its own group at the main, starting at the main thread. Creation of new threads into your program using thread class and runnable interface that we discussed in the last video, and creating multiple threads in your program. Many number of threads you may wish to create, as you can allow to create. And there are some functions like is alive and join, the methods that are having special purpose working with threads. First concept, that is the main thread. When a Java program starts up, one thread begins running immediately, that is called main thread, right? So that will be considered as a main thread of your program, because it is the one that executed when your program begins, right? The main thread is important for two reasons. The first one is it is the thread from which other threads will be created, that it is child threads. And the second point is, second important reason for this is, often it must be the last thread to finish execution. Why? Because as its main thread, and based on this, other threads are creating in your program. And after executing and terminating by all those child threads, then only this main thread will come out of their execution, right? Because that main thread performs various shutdown actions. When it immediately terminates before the terminations of child threads, so maybe some child threads may be in a position to continue their executions. And you see this concept like process creation in operating system, right? Next one, although the main thread is created automatically, we know this process when your program is started, it can be controlled through a thread object. And we know that we must obtain a reference to it, must be create an object of a thread class. In the previous video, we did some examples based on this, how the our classes are extending thread class for creating a threads in your program. And the same way, we are creating thread objects, and we must obtain a reference to it by calling the method current thread. The same way here also for this main thread, you can get the reference of that main thread by calling the method current thread, right? Which is a public and static member of thread class. And the general form of this method is static thread class name, and current thread is a method. And this method returns a reference to a thread in which it is called, on which object its method is called, that it returns the reference of that thread created. Once you have a reference to the main thread, you can control it like any other thread. So that reference is important for us. And based on that reference, we can make control of other threads, right? Just take this example here. I have a class called demo class and main method, and this is main class. Inside of the main method, I have created one object of this thread called T. and I'm invoking current thread method using this thread class thread dot current thread. Now it is considered as main thread, right? This is considered as main thread of your program. And after that, you're immediately displaying that what thread it is, what thread it is displaying. While you are using this object name or a thread object name in the display statement, it displays all the information about this thread. Okay, like name of the thread, priority of the thread, and which group of this thread belongs. That information is displayed by this object name inside this println statement. And you can set your thread name, and you can invoke this method set name on this thread object by giving string of as a thread name. After name changing, you can display again the thread information. And in addition to this concept, here this program doing some more additional, that it is displaying some integer value taken from 5 to 0, and during time we are decreasing that value and displaying. First it displays 5, then 4, then 3, 2, and 1. And you know this statement and operation well. But this process is doing, and I'm invoking one method called sleep method for 1000 milliseconds. And this method should be invoked through this thread class. So while displaying these values in this order, it sleeps for 10,000 milliseconds for displaying this value one by one, right? But here we used this exception handling mechanism try and catch here. So here in this one, that is that this sleep method generates one exception called interrupted exception, because the control is displaying these values, but we used this sleep method to interrupt that process. So that's why this sleep method generates one exception called interrupted exception. So that's why we made this code into part of code which generates exception into try block, and we have a catch handler to handle that exception. Got it? Main thread. So once again, go to this process. What we have to this in this, we have taken main threads and set name and everything, and go to command prompt for executing this. Here it is. Javac demo.java. That is compile Java and demo. You observe here, it's taking 1 second time to display the values in order. So the first name is the name given by compiler, that it is the thread, the main. Here it is the, what is the thread created? Here it is main thread. Main thread. This is main thread. And this main thread has 3 values here, that it is the first parameter is nothing but a thread name, main thread. And the second parameter is belongs to the priority. The thread priority is 5, and the default priority value of a thread creating in your program is 5. And this parameter, nothing but the group it belongs. And I told you that in the video 1, whatever the threads you create in your program that belongs to one group called main group, right? So that is the value differences here it is. And after name changes, the same thread we displayed. Here this main name is replaced with this my thread. That is my thread is name set by user to the main thread created, and remaining same. Got it? And we are additionally doing this displaying values using sleep method. And once again, if you observe here, the values are displaying with a delay of 1 second, right? Got it? Next, go to slides. So this is the output generated here, and I explained everything. Yeah, this is name of the thread, priority, and group it belongs. Change the name and displaying these values. Next one, the sleep method causes thread from which it is called to suspend execution specified period of milliseconds. 1000 milliseconds I have given, and this is the general form of this method. This method throws one exception called interrupted exception. And another form is also there for this sleep method. And we can give milliseconds along with nanoseconds also. And again, it throws an exception, interrupted exception. And next topic is creation of new threads in our program after this main threads like, and we know the process how to create a new threads in your program. We already seen some examples and basic and brief introduction about that, but here we will see clearly. And here we know that threads are created by instantiating an object type thread. So thread is a main class for all the threads created in our program. So we should always instantiating that thread class, right? For creating thread object of type thread class. And Java defines two ways in which this can be accomplished, that it is creating a thread. The first thing is we can implement runnable interface. And the second way is we can extend thread class. Implement and extends the thread class. So we'll see both the ways how to create a thread, a new thread in our program. So here is thread versus runnable. Thread is a class here and runnable is an interface. So this thread is a main to create this thread. And this thread class, whatever the class we are creating, that should be extend this thread class, or it can implement this runnable interface. And both the classes or whatever, there is a method called run, that is overridden method. We can override this method in our classes for run our threads. Okay. First, the way is implementing runnable interface. And consider this as an easiest way to create a thread, right? So by implementing the runnable interface, and it is nothing but one unit of executable code that abstracts how this thread are creating, right? So to implement runnable interface, a class need only implement a single method called run method. And it is the form of this run method. And inside of this one, you can, right, it is generally defined in the interface, the only method defined in that interface runnable, and we can override this method for running our threads. Inside thread, you will define the code that constitutes the new thread and what the thread, what for we created that new thread, and you can give that code into that run method. And it is important to understand that run can call other methods. Run can call other methods that work with this thread related operations. Okay. But any thread will end after this run returns. Then after the completion of this run method, any thread in your program that will end their executions. And one simple example here, how to create a new thread using this interface called runnable and by implementing this runnable interface. So I have a class called thread1 implements runnable, and here one run method that need to be override in our class. and that I'm indicating that thread has ended or started, whatever they may use. Just it indicating that run. Once the run method is invoked and completed, that it means of end of that run method, the end of that execution of thread. And inside of my main method of this class, I have created an object of my class. This is my class, right? And object. I'm creating this object for my class, right? I'm assigning this object for the thread. This is one another way. In the previous videos, we seen we can pass this object as a parameter to this thread class. That is the doing here. And without doing this step, you can simply make this object passing parameter as simply new th1. If you can write like this, it also works the same, right? So this is the way of creating a thread object that belongs to this thread class, and that thread class creating a reference to my class object. Now I'm starting my thread. How can I start? By using start method. So T1.start means it starts the process of execution. Immediately the control goes and verifies the run method defined in your class. So it executes this run method and terminates. So here, when we started the thread, I am giving information that thread has started. Then after completing this method run, and the thread is ended. Okay. Go to the execution part. Remember the class name is thread1. So here it is thread1 class. As it is given here, the same information I've taken into this. Go to command prompt. Java C thread1.java. Java thread1. So thread has started, thread has ended. So what you learn from this one is, so thread, how it is thread is created, implementing this runnable interface. Got it? Next one, the second way of creating new thread in your program by extending thread class. So here it is to create a new class that extends thread and then create an instance of that class. That is the process for creating a thread object by extending this thread class. The extending class must override run method, the same process. Interface also doing the same. Here also thread class contains one abstract method like run, and that should be overridden in our class and according to our implementation related to the thread created in our class, and which is entry point for new threads. And it must call start to begin execution of the new thread. We know this one. And this is example here. If you observe here, my class thread2 extends thread class the same way. The remaining process entirely same as we seen in the previous video. So we have a run method here. Inside main method, one object created for my thread class. Yeah, okay. Yes. So here it is a small change that it is thread2, right? Small thread2. And this is T1 is created and it is object T1. So T1.start is started and thread has started. After running this one, thread has ended. And go to the class, it is thread class 2. It is. So change this one, thread 2, thread 2. Okay. So if you observe, thread 2 class is extending this thread class, and I'm creating an object and then referencing to a thread object, and I am started my thread, right? Save this file, go to command prompt and execute that thread 2. class thread2. It is compiled Java thread2. It's executed the same. A thread has started, thread has ended. So the same process and same, we created one new thread by extending thread class. Got it? Simple programs. And next one is creating multiple threads. And right in the previous programs, we're saying to create single thread, but in turn, we can create multiple threads. And so far, you have been using only two threads, that is main thread and one child thread. And we see in the process how to create a main thread for our program and how to create a child thread for our program, right? It is not mandatory to create every time a main thread. And actually every thread you created in your program is a child thread to the main thread. And however, your program can span as many threads as it needs, right? So go to one simple example here. So same T3 is my thread class and extending threads, or you can implement runnable interface, whatever it is. I have a run method, and inside of this run method, I'm creating one current thread, that it is main thread. Okay. And this is the statement I will explain later you about this one. I'm coming to here. The first, this one is thread started. And inside of main method, as we seen in the previous two examples, creating one object of this thread 3, and we can start that thread and you can get the name of that thread 1. And here also you can use the object. And if you observe, no need to create any thread object here. Your thread class object will act as a thread because this thread class thread 3 extending this thread. So automatically one main thread is created and all these threads will considered as a child threads. But so every time what I'm doing here it is, every time I'm creating an object of thread class 3. So and I'm starting thread and run method indicating that thread is started. Okay. So three threads I created here. Every time I'm getting name of that thread, right? So what happens, we'll go and see here. Thread 3. The same code have taken here. Thread 1, thread 2, thread 3, started and get the name. Go to command prompt. Remember file name is thread 3, java c th3.java and java th3 thread. So thread 0 is created. So first I didn't give any name to my thread. So the compiler started giving name and allotted number. Thread -0, thread started, thread 1 started, thread 2, again thread started. Like this, you can create multiple threads in your program. So coming to here, one more simple thing here, I think taking here. Okay, go to this and this one, current threads. So can use this one in the program and just give me span time. Okay, now come to here. I just add one more instruction to this here. So this instruction also we can inside run method that gives every time whatever the thread started and invoke this run method to run that thread, it automatically takes the name of that thread by making these two, current thread and get name, using thread class. This way also we can get the name of that thread. And no need of these statements right every time after T1, T2, T3 started. So the same, whatever we taken this step, the same will reflect by this statement. And I will show you the difference. Go to command prompt here. So if you observe here, I started executed this one. So two times the name of thread is displayed here, right? Two times the name of this thread displayed. And go to command prompt, file the same. So delete this one Every time, no need to get that name, and only one get name method like this using current thread, which invoke this method, that automatically it get that name and displays, right? Save this file and go to command prompt. And run. So if you see, observe that thread 0, thread 2, thread 1. So it is, if you see in the output here, the thread starting order is different, right? So that is the time delays you can take, and we will overcome this type of problems in the next topics. Got it? So this way also we can create threads and get the name of those threads. Next one more example here, that it is the same. We not got the order properly, so we got different order. And how to get this order? Like, see here, I have a thread class for while creating multiple threads. The order of creating that thread and starting is maybe sometimes shuffle by, and you can control that by using this sleep method. So inside run method, I have given one statement that thread started, right? And then later inside of try block, I just given one sleep method for 1000 milliseconds. That is 1 second it's going to sleep. So meanwhile, the other thread may come and execute and start the same. So here, if you observe, 3 threads are created, and thread 1 started, thread 2 object is created and started, thread 3 object is created and started. Every time we are getting the name of that thread. So go and see how it execution happened. So see here, the same operation, we have taken the same code and go and execute this one. Thread 4. Thread 0, thread started, thread 1 started, thread 2 started. In meantime, 1 second is suspending the thread creation. Once again, I am running, right? So if you see, the order is changed, right? So that thread order is changed like that. If you observe the output. If you see them, let's start here. So this is because of that proper order making use of creating these threads. And we will discuss more about this one in the later topics. And coming to using isAlive and join. So here it is one solution for this. In the previous what we got, the thread started and like that. So coming to here, this isAlive is a method of thread class. This method is defined by thread class, and it has a form like isAlive is a method name, and it is a Boolean type. It returns only true and false when the current thread is on which this method is invoked, is it active or not. And the return, and it is a final type method. This isAlive method returns true if the thread upon which is called is still running. If that thread is still running, it gives true. Otherwise, it returns false. While isLive is occasionally useful, the method that you will more commonly use to wait for a thread to finish is called join method. So isAlive method only gives you the information is that current thread is executing on which this method is called. But join method is used to wait for a thread to finish its execution. And it has a form like join is a name, void return, it gives nothing, and the final method. But this join method throws an interrupted exception. It interrupts that exception. Why? Because it's after finishing this one, it gives one interrupted exception. This method waits until the thread on which it is called terminates. Okay. After that thread terminates or finish its execution, this method returns something. This method waits until that time. So come to one simple example here. Thread 5 class extending threads. Inside run method, I'm using the process of how this thread class thread going to be executed. So once any thread using this method run to start, so I inform that method as thread started, and I'm going to sleep that thread for 0.5 seconds. And this sleep method generates exception. That's why try block and catch block. And after that thread ended. Before leaving this run method, I'm informing that to the user that thread is ended. Okay. And coming to the main method here. So two threads created, T1 and T2, like this, right? And T1 is started, and I'm checking for is alive, about T1 and T2. So actually T1 is started now. Currently that is going to in running state. So that it means T1 is true. Here it is, and T2 is not still started. So the information given by is alive on object T2 is false. And later the thread T1, after when you start this method, automatically control goes to run method. And what it is going, thread started, right? Thread started, and later after leaving that run method, it thread ended. And after that, I have given the same. So if you observe here, this join method, right? So I will tell you this one later. Coming to this, T2 start, T2 dot start method, then control automatically goes to run method and thread started. Before that, so is it is alive or alive? And again, I'm calling this is alive method on T1 and T2. So T1 is already completed, thread ended right now. It is not running. That's why the first object T1 is giving false. But T2 is started right now. So that's why the given it gives true. And thread 2 is started and thread 2 ended. This is for thread 1 and this is for thread 2. Got it? And this join, I will cut out this one and execute and later paste it and again I show you the difference also. This join method, what it does, it waits until that transaction thread executed or terminated. So on which object I call this method? On T1. So it waits until T1 completes. Okay. Go and say this one. Thread 5. Let's go here, the same topic taken here, but I'm just first initially I'm ignoring these three statements and see the effect how this one. So I have a run method and thread started, thread ending, and I'm going to sleep thread for okay, we can take 1000 milliseconds. And inside main method, two threads created, T1 started and check this is alive for both the objects T1 and T2. And later T2 started and I checked this alive method on both T1 and T2. And what happens, we'll go and check on threads. So first it is true, second one is not started, false, and thread started, right? Thread started, and before T1 end, T2 started, right? Then both are showing true, true. And thread 2 started, thread 2 ended. After this T2 ended, T1 ended. Don't be confused. So at this time, T1, T2, true, false. Why? Because T1 is started, T2 is not started. So T1 started. And before the end of T1, T2 started. That's why both are giving true. T2 started run method, T2 exited run method, T1 exited run method. Like this. Okay. Again, you can compile, you will get this type of information, right? Okay, now go to file, code file, and delete this one. It waits until T1 terminates. Then only T2 will start. Why? Because I invoke this join method after this T1. So before T2 starts, T1 should terminate, right? And save this file and go to command prompt. Yeah, if you observe clearly, the first T1, T2, T1 started, T2 not started, true, false. T1 started run method, exited run method. Second, T1 completed, right? Then T2 started, T1 completed. That's why T1 false, T2 started true, and T2 thread started run method and exited run method. See the differences you just have right now, right? Understood? The usage of this is alive and join method. And you can give also join method sometime also. I will show you one more time. So we can use this, can also give some time. For example, 2000 times for 2 seconds it's going to sleep. Okay. Go to command prompt, and if you can observe the time delay, okay, compile it. After 2 seconds, it started and executed, right? So some time delays you can also give to join method. Okay, and that is also another form of this join method. You can give some integer value here, right? That time delay in milliseconds. Okay. Thank you.